A few fun questions before we get into what I call the real questions. If you could guest, write/direct a TV show that's on right now, what would you do? Besides The Office. Don't mention The Office.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, Veep is off. I thought Veep was perfect. I would do Veep. I love Better Things. Those would be mine.
I really like...
you love Blue Bloods. Maybe you could do Blue Bloods.
I really like Tim Robinson's show, I Think You Should Leave Now. I think it's hilarious. Love to be on that, work on that. What else? I don't watch much TV.
That's fine. We can move on. I got plenty of questions.
Okay.
What movie have you seen the most?
Groundhog Day.
Maybe European Vacation.
That is not the answer I was expecting, but I could totally understand that.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that movie.
It's great.
Yeah.
I actually watch Groundhog Day every day. Yeah. Until I become a better person.
Okay. I accept that. What TV show have you watched all the way through more than once?
The series all the way through?
Yeah.
British Office.
Breaking Bad. Sopranos.
Oh, so there's like a list. Some people are,
Hello,
I could.
Ladies. The classic.
Favorite ride at Disneyland?
Fuck Disneyland. Sorry, I'm an adult. I don't have a favorite ride at Disneyland.
Got it. Okay.
Sorry, everyone at Collider.
No, it's fine. I don't personally have a favorite ride, but there's a lot of people that are very
I've
obsessed.
been talking about going there recently, but I have not. So I'll follow up on this and I'll
say no more.
I'll text you.
Is there anything that you guys collect? That you're willing to talk about on camera?
Molds, spores, and fungus. What do I collect?
I collect nothing.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if I collect anything that...
I used to collect comic books.
I used to collect comic books. I did. I was a big comic book collector. No, I don't collect anything.
It's cool. My last quote-unquote fun question. What was your first movie or TV show crush?
Sybil Shepherd on Moonlighting.
Okay.
I think her name is Erin something from Buck Rogers.
Oh, someone brought this up yesterday. Wilma Darling. I think that's her character name. We literally talked about this yesterday.
Wow. I was transfixed. I didn't know that anyone could look like that.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It was when I learned for myself that I did like women.
Yeah.
Right.
That's it.
Wilma and Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
So I've been asking this of everyone. Do you remember, how did you actually break into the industry? What was the thing that, obviously you wanted to do what you're doing, but what was the thing that sort of got you over that hurdle?
Do you mean even just getting the first job, or you mean a writing job?
First way you got a paid writing gig.
Oh, paid writing gig. Well, I mean, first paid writing gig I did was I was a PA, and a guy that I worked with was producing a short film. And he sent me the script and said, I'll pay you to rewrite it. And I think I made $100, and I rewrote the script that then, went to some festivals. And then I co-wrote a script. I was a writer's assistant on this HBO show, Mind of the Married Man, a million years ago. And I co-wrote what ended up being the series finale. And that was my first paid writing gig.
So you went right for the series finale.
I was like, if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to shut this thing down.
Right.
We're gonna close this thing out hard.
Oh.
Okay.
First thing I got paid to write were jokes for stand-ups. I would write jokes, and I think I made $75. It wasn't enough to pay the rent, but.
Sure. What about a TV or a movie?
We
sold the pilot to Fox.
Yeah.
When was that? 2004.
Yeah.
Sold the pilot to Fox that we wrote that was loosely based on us, except we changed writers to be magicians. And then from that script, we got hired on The Office.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both of the ways you guys got in. I hear such fascinating stories from people.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's
But it took us 5 years. We were,
it was not overnight.
We were assistants. He was a nanny. 5 years into living in LA that we got hired on the show.
Do you guys have? I've spoken to a lot of writers, and they have a lot of unproduced scripts. Mm-hmm. Do you have a desk filled of unproduced scripts, or not really?
Everything we ever write has gone. No, I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't say a desk, but the most We have definitely several.
There's definitely scripts. There's probably a stack of scripts and then a gigantic stack of ideas.
Yeah.
Got it.
Half-baked ideas.
What is? Oh,
three
sorry.
different versions of Ghostbusters 3 that are just
Yeah.
sitting there.
I was gonna keep. I was gonna say, what's the one script you have that if you could get the green light on it, you would want to make it tomorrow? That's unproduced.
I mean, I do think some of the Ghostbuster scripts we wrote were pretty strong. It would be very difficult with Harold having passed and that sort of thing. I'm trying to think what else. We like Best Man.
Mm-hmm.
Jury Duty. We wrote a script about TV script about jury duty that we really liked.
Yeah, probably more TV stuff than movie stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jumping into why I get to talk to you guys today. So, what was I guess talk a little bit about the genesis of the project. Was it like the first meeting with the studio, the first thing to get it off the ground,
Well, we wrote the script first, just wrote it on spec because it'd be easier just to have something. We wanted to direct it, so we knew if we had a script, we
could control it a little bit more.
Yeah. So we didn't really, we linked up with a company that doesn't exist anymore called Good Universe, which had done blockers with Point Grey, which is Seth and Evan's company. So we kind of got those two entities together and then went around and got some offers.
But but Good Universe and everyone had read, and Seth and Evan read the script before there was no pitching. It was basically, we wrote the script, people said we want to do it, and then when we took it to the studios, we kind of talked about the feel of it, the look of it, and all that.
Sure. So you go out with the script. People say yes. You somehow get the money to make this thing.
Yeah.
How much changes from that day that you're first, from the script you went out with to what people are seeing on screen?
I mean, everything evolves, so you're always, kind of shaping it, and you have to lose some things for financial reasons, and then an actor comes on, you maybe shape it a little bit more towards them.
The dynamics between the three kids were so important. So I think as we started saying, okay, this isn't something theoretical that's on a page, we now have Keith L. Williams, and Keith L. Williams is very specific in a way that's different from the character that we wrote. So now let's start writing towards him. Or Brady is doing this thing really well, and so you start really shaping them. And I think we kind of developed their arcs more as we started getting into it and feeling like, what are we kind of driving towards at the end of the movie? So it's just, the script keeps evolving, and then you shoot, and as you're shooting, you discover certain things, and you want to protect yourself in editing for something else. And then you get into editing, and you realize that thing that you thought was so important doesn't matter, and that other thing really matters, and so you're trying to pull that up. So there's all different times in the process where you're constantly discovering new things.
Completely. I would imagine you have three young kids as the leads. So what do you get to film 8 hours a day, or is it
9?
8. It was 9, and then
It's like maybe 9 including lunch or something.
right? So it changes the dynamic of filmmaking completely.
Yeah.
When
time.
your three leads can only work so many hours.
Yeah, we had to throw out a lot of our ideas in terms of what we want to do with the camera. So we just had to make sure we got it once as scripted. It was tough. It was definitely
You have to be really efficient. We talked to our DP about how can we kind of cover the scene effectively, but also make sure that we have a lot of coverage.
Yeah.
But I mean, the good news is that all of them have perfect complexions, and so there's not a lot of lighting and kind of having to shoot around them in any way, and their hair. You know what I mean? Like some of the things that you sometimes have to do with actors and actresses, you don't have to do with 12-year-olds. So the lighting would be a little bit more minimal, and we're a little bit more down and dirty, I think, than.
So was there any take that you had 5 takes on anything, or was it because it seems to me like you need to make your days?
Yeah.
You can't go over. I mean, there are welfare workers on set. They won't let you go 1 minute over.
And you can't not make your day, because if you don't, like, we're only in this hotel room today, so it's not like tomorrow we're at the playground, and so if you don't finish what's here, then you have to that's it. Like, you have to make the scene from what you have.
Sure.
So you have to have it.
So was there any day that went over 5 takes or 10 takes?
Definitely not 10. We would also play around, like, we would, if we got a line the way we wanted it, we would try a new line so that we'd have options in editing.
Sure. So what was the hardest sequence then to put together with the restrictions that you were dealt with?
It's funny. Like, on the first day, we wrote all stuff about the kids riding their bikes and talking, and realized like that's going to be difficult for them to ride their bikes and talk at the same time, and then go back to the first area, and it was just like it was a mess. So we had to change things around, and maybe less bike riding and more sitting on straddling the bikes and talking. And
things you don't think about when you write, because we were concerned as we started rewriting the script that we're losing too much bike riding. We need bike riding. That was kind of one of the iconic feelings of the movie. And then after the first day, we were like, no more bike riding. We need to stop bike riding. Like, we need to get them walking.
Yeah.
I would have never thought about that.
Yeah,
but
you don't think about that stuff.
It's so true. One of the things I really liked, and I'm going to run this after release, is the ending of the movie. It shows their growth. There's a great line in the car about, where the girls are telling them about, I'm going to misquote this thing, but, who you're with as a kid is because of, your parents and where you live.
Right.
And it's like this, it's cool, this cool moment at the party where they're all realizing what's going on. So talk a little bit about the ending and where you wanted to go, and was it always that place?
Yeah, I mean, once we figured out what the emotional core of the movie was, there was only one way it could end, in a sense. So we knew it was going to go there, and we spent a lot of time thinking about it, talking about it, and hopefully people will feel something when they watch that ending.
Oh no, I definitely, I felt it was an honest conclusion. Was it ever something else, or was it always this?
We were always going for that feeling. We played around with.
There were lots of different versions of it. Like at one point they were racing back to get back. They had a big recital that night, so they're racing back for the recital, and then the kissing party kind of took over that idea. And we really wanted the kind of the iconic first, and then the recital was something that kind of comes after that. So we ended up keeping that, but like all the boys were in the recital, and so as we started kind of separating them out to say Max is into kissing and he's into this, what are their problems and what are their concerns, that kind of informed how the ending went.
Sure. What was it like? Because obviously you must have met with a lot of kids for the roles.
Yeah.
So what was it like trying to figure out the three leads in terms of the chemistry and, how long was that process?
9
months. It's like we birthed.
Yeah, we birthed
the
kids.
casting. Yeah.
Right. So talk a little bit about, was Jacob always in it?
Yeah.
So he was the linchpin.
Yes.
And then what was it like? How many times, like, for example, was it tons of kids that he was chemistry reading with, or was it?
He lives in Vancouver. He came down to LA once or twice, but we were kind of going through trying to find. We were in casting or watching tapes for forever. We saw. I literally, as I'm watching TV now, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that kid. I remember her. Yeah, we saw everyone. Yeah. There's no kid actor that we don't know at this point. And you're trying to find that chemistry. And you also have something, to me it's like I always have kind of like I have an idea of how the line should be delivered in my head, and 100 kids can come through and it won't sound like that, and you're like, fuck, maybe I'm wrong. And then all of a sudden Brady Noon walks into the room and just gives it exactly the way that you wanted it, and then even more, and you're like, oh, amazing. Or Keith comes in and I've never heard someone kind of intone like that, or pause at that moment, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this kid needs to be in the movie.
I heard that there was a scene with Keith, I think in the playground, yelling at Molly, or something, like a 20-minute improv that was cut, or am I wrong about this? I think that's what she told me.
In the playground, or no, it was in the parking garage.
Maybe it was a parking garage.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like all the kids you put in the movie could like think on their feet.
Yeah, they're really funny, and they would just do surprising things, and they're not Steve Carell or Will Ferrell or Melissa McCarthy.
Sure.
And they will get there at some point, I believe. But they're doing things that those people won't do because they have no background in it. So you're constantly surprised. There are things that the actors said as themselves that we put in the movie.
Oh, got it. My last thing for you. What was it like filming the kissing scene with Jacob? Because I asked him what scene terrified him, and he's like, the kissing scene.
Yeah.
By a mile.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what is it like filming that with kids who clearly have no experience and are scared out of their minds?
Yeah, it was tense. It was we cleared the set, and we took it very, like, there's no joking around.
We had to talk to all the kids in the circle about what we were doing, and
he was definitely nervous. And it was the second kissing scene of the movie for him. First he had the first kissing scene was with the doll.
Sure.
And than with the actual live human being. So
we eased his way towards
Yeah.
humans.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so many things in this movie that those kids are going to watch as adults and just be dumbfounded
I know,
that
we
what
were
they
talking
were
about that.
doing.
Yeah.
It's great. Listen, I had a blast watching this thing, and I wish you guys nothing but the best.
Thank you so much.
Let me hit